what recommendations would you have for our viewers on how to manage a business during a crisis?
The first thing I think I would say, Will, is while we're in the midst of this crisis right now, I don't think this will be our last crisis. I think this will probably be the first of many crises to come. And I don't think this will be, I think this is more indicative of the future kind of crises that we're going to experience. So I don't think the threat of a nuclear threat is as great as more of a bio kind of weaponry type of attack, which I think is what we're experiencing now, although I don't think this was purposeful. But in all reality, it was kind of like a good test for people. So I think that's probably the next one that we can probably expect to experience it. And that could be in terms of, I think if they attack the United States, my personal thoughts are, they'd probably take a look at what is important to the United States culture. So for example, money. And I would say that they would probably attack us through the ink on the money we use, the paper on the money we use, things like that. So that would be probably the first thing I would say. Then the next things I would say are more general to crises in general. And one of the things that you face in a crisis is the tendency to overreact or to react very quickly without giving things as much thought. And we have to remember, for the most part, we're not in surgery, so we don't have to make split seconds decisions. So it's important to get really focused on what your main goals are, and secondly, to take time with the decisions you make. So one of the things I always try and do is to give enough weight to the decision based on how important the decision is going to be. So I think when you're faced with a crisis, the thing you cannot count on, you can't make one plan and follow that plan all the way through. That just doesn't happen in a crisis. But what you can do is maintain some flexibility and stay on your plan for, say, a day or a half a day or for a certain number of hours. But it is important to understand what your priorities are and your focus and get those things and not overreact. It's also important to remain calm. You will find that some of the people, for example, I was in a crisis in Canada, and the guy I could count on all the time, he was my number 2 guy. He was my guy I count on for everything. And unfortunately, Mike just became like a deer in the headlights. He could not get anything done that I could always count on him to do. So that's the other thing, is it's important to understand who performs well under a crisis and who doesn't. So some people who you don't expect to have certain skill sets really rise to the occasion, and quite the opposite impact occurs as well. So people you can always count on really don't perform on a crisis.